learned more from these guys than I ever learned in church. They're just the coolest bunch of guys. But most of them, if they'd been to church, they'd only done like corporate worship, where they're sitting in the pew and they're listening to somebody sing, and they're listening to somebody preaching. So small group was a new concept for them, and so I had to work to get them to share. And so I would ask questions. So one week my question was, what is the Bible? And the thing I was driving at, or trying to get them to get to, was the fact that it was alive. Like most books, you can read it once and you know what the book is. And as an example, I open up my Bible and somewhere there in Romans, there's like 7 different color highlighter pens. And I said, that means at least 7 or 8 times in my life I've been here, but something different spoke to me every single time. This thing's alive. And not just a book. And one of the guys that helps teach me, we call him Chicken Man. We're in this little room. He used to raise chickens, and then a tornado wiped out his farm. And then at the age of 56, he decided to become a psychologist, and he did it. So Chicken Man slides the trash can in the middle of the room, and one guy said, well, it's just a book. Chicken Man took his Bible and he threw it in the trash can. Threw his Bible in the trash can, and all these guys are sitting there, and you can tell people aren't very comfortable with it. And this one great big guy, a guy named Wayne, walks over to the middle of the room, reaches down in the trash can, he pulls that Bible out, and he wipes it off. He said, don't do that no more. Wayne had tears rolling down his face. Chicken Man said, well, if it's just a book, why does that bother you, Wayne? Wayne said, let me tell you a story. He said, my mama died a few years ago. He said, when she died, she left me $70,000. He said that I lost my mind and I jumped on the party train. He said, I got myself a couple of girlfriends and we started drinking and we started partying and we started smoking crack like nobody's business. He said, because I'm drinking and smoking crack and got my girlfriends, I quit going to work. He said, because I quit going to work, I got fired from my job. Well, when I got fired from my job, I quit making money and I quit paying my rent and I got kicked out of my house. And he said, I got everything I own in 4 or 5 suitcases and a couple of backpacks. He said, the only personal item that I had from my mom, he said, when I was a little kid, she gave me a Bible. And on the inside cover on it, she wrote a love letter to me. He said, well, I get kicked out of my house and we move over to Marietta, Georgia, and we're in these cheap motels and crack smoking party. It's just continuing on. He said, we're getting bounced from cheap hotel to cheap hotel. He said, well, somewhere along the way, I'm losing my stuff. I'm losing a bag here and a backpack there. He said, at some point I realized I've lost that Bible that my mom gave me. He said, well, I eventually lost the rest of the stuff and the money ran out and then the girls left. He said, I ain't got no job. I'm homeless and a crack addict. He said, I'm living on the street. He said, I'm on the street for about 1.5 years. He said, one day a guy comes by and offers me a job. He said, I guess I did a decent job because a week later the guy came back. He said, I need you for something else and you need somebody to help you. And he said, there's another homeless guy sitting there reading a newspaper. And I thought, well, he can read. He must be pretty smart. And I got him. And he said, this man put us in his car and he took us 100 miles from Atlanta because he had bought this old apartment. He said he wanted us to gut it out and clean it out. And the guy was going to renovate it and rent these apartments. He said, so we started cleaning this apartment out, two-story apartments. He got the ground floor cleaned out. He said, went up to the second floor. And he said, my buddy's sweeping and cleaning up. And he's putting the stuff in trash bags and he's dropping them out the window. I'm getting the bags and walking them down the corner to the dumpster. Putting them in. He said, that's just me all afternoon, getting these trash bags, walking around the corner to the dumpster. He said, finally I'm looking and the bags quit falling out the window and I guess the guy's finished. He said, now go up the stairs to the second floor, and he said, he's done a great job. He said, the second floor is all cleaned out. He said, except for a little pile of stuff over in the corner. I asked the guy, I said, what's about the stuff in the corner? And the guy said, well, when I was cleaning up, he said, that's the stuff I found that might have some value to it, and I didn't want to throw it away. And he said, I went over there to look at stuff, and amongst it, there's a book. He said, and I reached down, and I picked up that book, and I opened it up, and it's my Bible with that love letter from my mother 1.5 years later and 100 miles away. In the only door, the only door that I'm in this town. He said, and that was the moment that I sunk down to my knees and I started crying because I figured if God was chasing me that bad, I was going to quit running. Wayne now lives down at the mission and oversees 50 guys. Wayne's been clean for 2 years. And that's who you work for. You work for that more for that God that loves people like crazy like that. That's the way He pursues them. And in your case, it's these kids. It's these kids, and you never know. And you're not going to know until 10,000 years from now. When some kid comes up and taps you on the shoulder and says, "You remember me? You're the reason I'm here." I love young life kids. My wife is a young life